Hey guys, Toyhouze here to cover all the new spells for Shaman, Mages, Warlocks, and Druids coming in the Burning Crusade Classic. Just like in my other video, if you're not a Shaman, Mage, Warlock, or Druid, you might want to stick around just so you know what's going on when you're going up against them. Or if you're on the fence and you might want to re-roll. So thank you so much for watching. I think you're really going to enjoy this. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. It really helps out a lot. Alright guys, we'll now begin by covering every single one of the new abilities and spells introduced in the Burning Crusade Classic, starting right now. Shaman, the amazing class that will now be available to the Alliance in the Burning Crusade. Shaman get a number of great abilities in the Burning Crusade, one of those being Totem of Wrath. Now this is a new talent at the end of the elemental tree, which will have 5 health, and it increases the chance to hit and critically strike with spells by 3% for all party members within 40 yards. So this will be a nice buff, considering how caster favored the Burning Crusade is, or just really range DPS favored, I should say. You'll want to bring a Shaman to complement your Mage and Warlock group for this Totem of Wrath. It's a nice spellcaster totem. Moving on to Shamanistic Rage, this is really what Enhance needed. If you've seen my other videos, you know I say, man, if you're playing Enhance, mana efficiency is the name of the game. While they did get the ability that makes shocks do less or cost less mana after getting a crit, forget the name of it right now. This is another ability which allows you to not run out of mana. So Shamanistic Rage reduces all damage taken by 30% and gives your successful melee attacks a chance to regenerate mana equal to 30% of your attack power. So this is actually very strong, especially if you're getting crits with those successful melee attacks. However, I would say one of the biggest benefits for PvP for Shamanistic Rage is that it reduces all damage taken by 30%. So if you see a glowing red hunter, you know, oh shoot, I might want to pop Shamanistic Rage so I don't die in 2 seconds. So Shamanistic Rage is a great damage mitigation ability that lasts 15 seconds. Alright, so that's at the end of the Enhanced tree. We're now moving over to the end of the Resto tree, and we find ourselves bestowed with an incredible talent known as Earth Shield. Protects the target with an earthen shield, giving a 30% chance of ignoring spell interruption when damaged and causing attacks to heal the shielded target for 150. This effect can only occur once every few seconds, 6 charges. Lasts 10 minutes. Now, Earth Shield can only be placed on one target at a time, and only one elemental shield can be active on target at a time. So you can't put Water Shield plus Earth Shield on yourself, one shield per target at a time. Earth Shield's really good. I don't know what else to say. You're gonna use it all the time if you're resto, and it's super strong. It's good. You got to remember to refresh it if it falls off. It only has 6 charges, but you're definitely going to use that in both PvP and PvE. In PvP, you're going to want to use it on the target that's getting attacked, of course. And if that's not you, then Water Shield is going to be the one to use, except I'll talk about that later. Next is probably Shaman's best ability, though, if I'm being honest. It's by far the ability that probably why people bring Shamans to the raid. Bloodlust for the Horde and Heroism for the Alliance. This ability increases melee, ranged, and spell casting speed by 30% for all party members, and it lasts 40 seconds, a huge whopping 40 seconds. That's fantastic. It's a great ability. You're going to want to bring lots of Shamans to the raid for the Bloodlust or the Heroism. Extremely strong. You're going to want to be Shaman stacking. Next up, we have Fire Elemental Totem. This is nothing so crazy. It's just summons an elemental totem that calls forth a greater fire elemental to rain destruction on the caster's enemies. Lasts 2 minutes. I think it's cool. It's fun. It's got some lore behind it, but I don't recall it being really that good. Same with Earth Elemental Totem. Summons an elemental totem that calls forth a greater Earth Elemental Totem to protect the caster and your allies. Lasts 2 minutes. Again, I don't remember them being very good, but it's nice to have an extra body if you need it. However, this totem that I'm about to talk about next is pretty good, and you will see it used quite a bit, and that is Wrath of Air Totem. Summons a Wrath of Air Totem with 5 health at the feet of the caster. party members within 30 yards of the totem will have their spell damage and healing increased by up to 101 last 2 minutes. So this is a nice spellcaster totem. You could technically use this to help your healers, but it's also very good for spellcasters, mages, warlocks, balanced druids even. It's a nice totem. And now, I kind of hinted at this before, but Water Shield is a new ability. The caster is surrounded by 3 globes of water, granting 43 mana per 5 seconds. When a spell, melee, or ranged attack hits the caster, 170 mana is restored to the caster. This expends 1 water globe. Only 1 globe will activate every few seconds, last 10 minutes. Yada yada. Same thing about the Earth Shield. You can only have 1 per person at a time. So this is actually really great. I mean, 43 mana per 5 just by having this on you. And then if you're the target of attacks, you're really not going to run out of mana as long as you keep this up and you're not spending mana ridiculously. It's super strong. It's super strong, guys. Like, Water Shield is crazy. In PvP and in PvE, Water Shield is so good. It's an amazing talent. It really makes mana not too much of an issue for a shaman. Super good. All right, moving on to the Mage. Now, the Mage, I would say, has gained some of the most flavorful, useful abilities, and really, like the Priest and the Rogue, have some incredible PvP abilities. So let's get right into it. The Mage has Slow at the end of the Arcane Tree, reducing the target's movement speed by 50%, increasing the time between ranged attacks by 50%, and casting time by 50%. So, and that lasts 15 seconds. So this ability can only affect 1 target at a time. It's actually from Warcraft 3, the Sorceress Slow ability, but this is super strong. Again, if you're going Arcane, though, that's actually really not that good of a PvP spec. So this is kind of an ability you're not going to see much. And if you do see it, it's kind of a sign of like, go Zerg that Mage, because, they're not super strong, Arcane Mages. Maybe in PvE, but in PvP, not so much. All right, moving on from Arcane to Fire, we're going to talk about Dragon's Breath. Targets in a cone in front of the caster take 370 to 430 fire damage and are disoriented for 3 seconds. Any damaging attack will revive the targets. Your attack will be turned off when used. Now, this is an exciting ability because it's an interrupt. It's like a cone-shaped scatter shot that does fire damage. It's nice to interrupt a heal or to peel a rogue off a teammate or yourself or whatever melee. It's strong and definitely can be used in PvP if you're going Fire. Again, Fire is really not the best spec in PvP. However, there it is. Whoop, there it is. There's Dragon's Breath. Next up, we have Summon Water Elemental. Back when they were called Elemental and not Elementals, like in Panda. Hated elementals. So a water elemental will basically fight for you. It's got water bolt and it's got freeze or frost nova. I forget, they changed the name at some point. It's essentially a frost nova that you can cast ranged. It's crazy good. Really, I think this is what makes mages ridiculous, giving them a pet. You have your own personal frost nova, and then your pet can cast a ranged frost nova wherever you need it. Super strong. It does decent damage too. It gets your stats for the most part. Doesn't get resilience though. Yeah, Summon Water Elemental. It's a boss move. It's super strong. Something that is a quality of life change for mages. They will now get Ritual of Refreshment, which begins a ritual that creates a refreshment table. Raid members can click the table to acquire Conjured Mana Biscuits. The tables last for 3 minutes or 50 charges. It requires the caster and 2 additional party members to complete the ritual. In order to participate, all players must right-click the refreshment portal and not move until the ritual is complete. So this is nice quality of life change. I love seeing these in the battlegrounds. You can load up on Conjured Mana Biscuits for the day. Conjured Mana Biscuits, by the way, will restore both health and mana. So it frees up some inventory space of carrying both water and food. Very cool, very fun. Quality of life change. Nothing compared to Spell Steal. This ability was added in TBC, and it steals a beneficial magic effect from the target. This effect lasts a maximum of 2 minutes. Now, guys, I've listed out a lot of abilities. If you've come all this way, wow, I tip my hat to you. because it's been like 44 minutes talking about abilities here. And this spell steal ability can steal like 80% of them. Paladin Wings. Yeah, they're mine now. Increases damage by 30%, and a mage can just steal those. What else can they steal? They can steal different armors. They can steal Bloodlust. They can steal Earth Shield. They can steal Water Shield. They can steal everything from you, man. Spell steal. It's so good. It's super fun too. Like who doesn't want to just? It strips the buff off your enemy, and then you get it. It's awesome. Like you with a priest, dude, you could strip someone so fast. Dude, it's sick. Sorry, I'm only thinking about the PvP applications here, but dude, spell steal, dude. It's freaking spell steal. You could take like a Warlock's Fell Armor, which, you know, is strong and gives you spell power. Oh, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. All right, moving on past spell steal, moving on to invisibility. Fades the caster into invisibility over 5 seconds, reducing threat each second. The effect is cancelled if you perform or receive any actions. How do you receive an action? While invisible, you can only see other invisible targets, and those whom can see invisible lasts 20 seconds. Now, this ability can be good in PvP and PvE. In PvP, this could certainly throw off your enemy. It can, make them think they're up against double stealthies in arena. It could be helpful to set up an ambush in a battleground. In PvE, it reduces threat each second. So if your threat's getting too high, pop invisibility. It's going to reduce your threat. So it's got a ton of applications. It's got a lot of flavor. I mean, who doesn't want to go invisible? It's like, hey, what's your favorite superpower? Flying or invisibility? Oh, I wish I was invisible. Well, there you go. Now roll a mage and you can be invisible. Very freaking cool. I love all these abilities that were added, by the way. I mean, it's really freaking cool. Next up, we have Conjure Mana Emerald. Conjures a Mana Emerald that can be used to instantly restore 2,340 to 2,460 mana. 3 charges. Conjured items disappear if logged out for more than 15 minutes. That's just kind of straightforward. You can conjure yourself a mana potion. Next, Ice Lance, which deals 161 to 187 frost damage to an enemy target. Causes triple damage against frozen targets. This is sort of the shatter combo. You just kind of like deep freeze, and then actually that's Wrath of the Lich King. I mean, if it's helpful if your opponents are frozen, you can Ice Lance them, and it'll do triple damage. So it's strong for that reason. Also, it's like an instant cast frost damage ability, so it's pretty nice. All right, and then we're going to move on to the housekeeping items. Like, obviously this is new. We have Portal Shatreth. Creates a portal. Anyone who uses it can go to Shatreth. Also added is a portal to Exodar and Silvermoon, respectively, for Alliance and Horde, and the accompanying ability Teleport to Exodar and Silvermoon for just yourself. These are all new abilities added in the Burning Crusade. Some new exciting abilities. Besides those, we have Arcane Blast, which is actually quite strong. It blasts the target with energy, dealing 648 to 752 arcane damage. Each time you cast Arcane Blast, the casting time is reduced, while mana cost is increased. Effect stacks up to 4 times and lasts 8 seconds. So if you have the mana for it, you can start pumping out some crazy arcane damage. And then we come to Molten Armor. Causes 75 fire damage when hit, increases your chance to critically hit with spells by 3%, and reduces the chance you are critically hit by 5%. Only one type of armor spell can be active at a time. So this is strong. Obviously reduces your chance to be critically hit by 5%. That's basically like what Resilience does. And 3% increased crit. It's super strong. Molten Armor. Of course, you're losing the benefit of Frost Armor, right? People getting slowed, attack speed, and movement speed. So take it with a grain of salt. All right, so we're done with Mage, and we're moving on to one of the most popular classes in the Burning Crusade. We're moving on to the Warlock. Now, the Warlock got a number of useful abilities. One of them I've talked about. We've got Unstable Affliction. Shadow energy slowly destroys the target, causing 660 damage over 18 seconds. In addition, if the Unstable Affliction is dispelled, it will cause 990 damage to the Dispeller and silence them for 5 seconds. So it's super strong because people are going to want to be dispelling your corruption, your curse of agony. Actually, agony can come off clean because unstable affliction, I think, is a magic effect. So really, corruption and siphon life and unstable affliction, those three, if you stack them, unstable affliction will help protect, dispel. And there's other stuff that might be on the enemy that they're trying to dispel. Maybe it's a fear, or maybe it's a frost nova. Unstable affliction is going to really discourage dispelling. Like, you don't want to dispel an unstable affliction. I'm really talking PvP here. It's probably good in PvE as well, simply for the damage it deals. All right, up next we have Summon Felguard. This summons a Felguard under the command of the Warlock. The Felguard is a powerful demonic ally. It has charge. It has a ton of really strong abilities. It's very strong. It kind of falls off late game in PvP and PvE, but for leveling, it absolutely is a blast. Shadow Fury is at the end of the destruction tree. It does AoE shadow damage and stuns all enemies within 8 yards for 2 seconds. Absolutely a very nice PvP ability for the AoE stun. Also has PvE applications, though. If the tank needs help gathering enemies, or you're just AoEing a room, it could be nice to do some shadow damage. But what will be used quite frequently is Fel Armor. Surrounds the caster with Fel energy, increasing the amount of health generated through spells and effects by 20%, and increasing spell damage by up to 50. Only one type of armor spell can be active on the Warlock at any time. Lasts 30 minutes. So this is great. You're gonna be getting more health back from Siphon Life, from Drain Life, from Health Stones, and it's also going to increase your spell damage. So it's absolutely a fantastic armor to have. Actually, it also is going to increase, health generated through spells and effects. That means anyone healing you, right? Like, you got a Druid putting some hots on you. Well, Fel Armor is going to help increase that healing by 20%. That is broken, dude. Fel Armor is broken for PvP. And PvE, I'm sure it has some good applications as well. Speaking of PvE, we have Seed of Corruption. One of the absolute best forms of AoE in the Burning Crusade. Seed of Corruption embeds a demon seed in the enemy target, causing 1044 shadow damage over 18 seconds. When the target takes 1044 total damage or dies, the seed will inflict 1,110 to 1,290 shadow damage to all other enemies within 15 yards of the target. Only one corruption spell per Warlock can be active on any one target. So Seed of Corruption, it's ridiculous. It's mainly for PvE, quite frankly, but I mean, honestly, if you could pull it off, PvP, it could be good for AoEing. All right, another nice quality of life change, similar to the Ritual of Refreshment. We have the Ritual of Souls. Begins a ritual that creates a soul well. Raid members can click on the soul well to acquire a Master Health Stone. The soul well lasts for 8 minutes or 10 charges, requires the caster and 2 additional party members to complete the ritual. Blah, blah, blah. In order to complete it, your people need to have brains. It's nice because it summons a soul well, and you can just right-click that and get yourself a Master Health Stone. It's awesome. Soul Shatter, the much-needed Warlock ability. I can't tell you how much Warlocks needed this. Soul Shatter reduces threat by 50% for all enemies within 50 yards. It does use a Soul Shard, however, but it's super strong because Warlocks really have no threat reduction, and they pull a ton of threat. I rolled an Alliance Warlock in Classic simply for Blessing of Salvation because I knew Warlocks had no threat mitigation at all. So this is exactly what they needed in order to reduce the threat they generate. 50% is a big number, so much needed addition in the Burning Crusade. Now I can go reroll Horde. All right, Incinerate. This is a new destruction ability. Deals fire damage to your target and additional fire damage if the target is afflicted by an Immolate spell. So you're going to have to weave your spells correctly because, conflagrate or conflag, I don't know how to say it, consumes your Immolate. So if you're going destruction and you want to do fire destruction, you have to keep that in mind, that Incinerate does bonus damage if they're afflicted by Immolate. All right, guys. Well, if you've made it all the way here, that is impressive. We're moving on to the final class today, and that is the Druid. Now, the Druid is, again, probably going to be one of the most popular classes in the Burning Crusade. It has a ton of fun, powerful abilities that were added in the Burning Crusade. We've got Force of Nature from the Balance Tree. It summons 3 treants to attack enemy targets. Force of Nature is a very fun, flavorful ability that existed within Warcraft 3 on the Keeper of the Grove, and now for Balanced Druids, they will now have that ability. It's not particularly strong. It's okay, but I say it's more fun for lore reasons than anything. Next up is Mangle. Mangle is a new feral ability. Mangle the target, inflicting damage and causing the target to take additional damage from bleed effects for 12 seconds. This ability can be used in cat form or dire bear form. So Mangle is actually very, very, very good. It's especially good considering how many bleed effects there are in the game. There was a comp even built around this called Bleed Cleave. You'd have like a warrior, a rogue, and a druid. And like, I don't know, but you just like stack bleeds, and it's actually like really strong because there's a ton of, actually maybe not, maybe it's just warrior and druid because they have the bleeds. Yeah, it's actually really good. I mean, Mangle is strong, and it's helpful in PvP and PvE. A very strong ability. Another very strong ability is in the Resto tree, which is Tree of Life. Shapeshift into the Tree of Life. While in this form, you increase healing received by 25% of your total spirit for all party members within 45 yards. Your movement speed is reduced by 20% because you're a tree, and you can only cast Swift Mend, Innervate, Nature Swiftness, Rebirth, Barkskin, Poison Removing, and Healing over time spells. But the mana cost of these spells is reduced by 20%. So it's basically like you're a siege tank going into siege mode, except instead of exploding people, you're just healing them. You're like this slow mega healer. Tree of Life, super strong. You're going to see it all the time in PvE. Frankly, you'll probably see it in PvP too. Maybe less so, but Tree of Life is very strong. Okay. And of course, when you shapeshift, you remove polymorph and movement impairing effects. All right. The best ability for druids ever, and probably the best ability in all of the Burning Crusade. I'm sure you could probably guess it. The answer is Cyclone. Tosses the enemy target into the air, preventing all action, but making them invulnerable for up to 6 seconds. Only one target can be cycloned at a time. Cyclone is by far one of the most complained about abilities in the Burning Crusade. It's just so strong. It's so good. I mean, it's just so broken. They're invulnerable. Let's say you see like the enemy casting a huge heal. Oh, I'm going to cyclone your teammate. Boom, that heal just got, absorbed by nothing because the player was cycloned. Like, it's got so many uses. It's so powerful. It's so broken. I don't know what else to say. Cyclone is the best ability, and it's now available in the Burning Crusade for the Druid. Speaking of which, the Druid also has a fun new ability called Flight Form. Shapeshift into flight form, increasing movement speed by 60 and allowing you to fly. Can only use in Outland. And the better version of it, Swift Flight Form. Shapeshift into a swift flight form, increasing movement speed by 280 and allowing you to fly. So very, very fun, very, very cool. I mean, this is probably something I feel like I have to do. I mean, how fun is it to instantly turn into a bird and move at 280% move speed? It's probably the funnest thing you could probably do in the Burning Crusade, and then go around gathering herbs and stuff. Like how freaking fun is that? Just like turn into a bird, start falling before you hit the ground, turn back into a bird. Like, dude, it's probably one of the funnest things you could do if you're bored. So that's available now in TBC for the Druid. And then we also have some new abilities in the feral side of things. We have Lacerate. Lacerates the enemy target, dealing 31 bleed damage and making them bleed for 155 damage over 15 seconds and causing a high amount of threat. Damage increased by attack power. The effect stacks up to 5 times on the target. Now, this is primarily a tanking ability, similar to Seal of Vengeance. It's a nice way to generate threat. See if you see that tooltip, it says causes a high amount of threat. You definitely want to keep Lacerate up on your target as you're tanking as a bear. Another amazing ability for druids, not feral, is actually Life Bloom. Now, this is really what Druids needed. It's the anti-dispel heal over time. So Life Bloom heals the target for 273 over 7 seconds. When Life Bloom completes its duration or is dispelled, the target instantly heals themselves for 600. This effect can stack up to 3 times on the same target. Very strong. Getting Life Bloom stacks is really so strong that people have to usually switch targets and just be like, all right, F it, we need to go on a different target in a PvP setting. In PvE, obviously, Life Bloom's not going to get dispelled. It's just going to be amazing to keep 3 stacks up on a tank. Life Bloom, very, very strong. Very, very, very strong. So Druids also have that in their repertoire. In the last ability of the day, guys, we have Maim. Finishing move that causes damage and incapacitates the target. Any directly damaging attack will revive the target, causes more damage, and lasts longer per combo point. So this is sort of like a gouge ability, but it's a finishing move for the Druid. It's pretty good in PvP, maybe not as much in PvE, but still useful to some extent. And that's it for this guide today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like if you liked it, subscribe if you want more, and leave a comment down below letting me know what you thought. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.